Never happened. When we started, 99 years ago, 100 years in July, when a husband got married to a wife, he came and paid for both the funerals. As a husband, we're so far removed. And when they had a child, when they had a baby, they would come back to baby's funeral. That's how responsible we used to be 100 years ago. Now, 100 years now, we're like, what? We died? It's a whole...
Oh, yeah.
Because we're just so removed from the cycle of life.
Well, and even just in the morning, a couple weeks he was alive and just trying to fight with things.
Everything changed over.
Just getting
especially the bigger city with national companies. Enid makes that a little better because we can.
Our biggest fight was that like his main banking was in our credit union in Washington State. We're trying to add her to the account.
Credit unions are terrible.
I was like, well, you've got to fill out paperwork. You've got to come out here.
I think you were right.
All right, got quiet real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and call us to order. Summer, if you'll call roll.
David Mason.
Here.
Sandra Robinette.
Here.
Dr. Mack, I did not see her. Ryan Zaladek.
Here.
Jesse Ashlock.
Here.
Kenneth Gertie.
Here.
April Danahay. Don't see her. Sean Cummings.
Present.
Jeremy Heiss.
Here.
Jonathan Waddell.
Here.
Keaton Francis.
Here.
Jennifer Smithson.
Here.
George Pankinen.
Here.
Dwight Hughes. Don't see him. And Dr. Dudley Darrow.
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum.
All right, very good. Item number 2, consider approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Vance Development Authority of October 21st, 2025. I'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion does pass. Item 3.1, conduct the oath of office for appointed trustees. I think this is you, Ryan.
All right. And Sean.
Oh, and Sean Cummins, too, okay. Yeah, are we wanting to keep Sean Cummins or not? Let me just kind of do a little stall.
I accepted before I realized you were going to be here, David.
I know.
Yeah, you need a motion for that? Move we go into executive session?
That's some of that Southwest Oklahoma humor.
Friends like mine.
Why don't both of y'all come down here and we'll just take those real quick. Make it official. I'm just kidding.
You help downstairs.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for agreeing to serve. Here. You kind of don't have a choice. But, this is very important. I told both of you before that this board seems like it's just updates until we need to do something, and it has to go into action. And we're always in support of our base, and that's what we do. So let me read through it. Just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name.
I, Ryan Zaladek,
Do solemnly swear that I will support,
do solemnly swear that I will support,
obey, and defend the Constitution
obey, and defend the Constitution
of the United States
Of the United
of
States.
the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not
and that I will not
knowingly receive directly or indirectly
knowingly receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable things
any money or other valuable things
for the performance or non-performance of any act
for the performance or non-performance of any act
or duty pertaining to my office
or duty pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear that I will faithfully discharge
I further swear that I will faithfully discharge
my duties as trustee
my duties as trustee
as the Vance Development Authority to the best of my ability.
as the Vance Development Authority to the best of my ability.
Perfect. That's harder than it sounds. Congratulations, glad both of you.
We're good.
Okay, good. Item 3.2, update on the Eisenhower Elementary School construction project. And I think we'll start, Dudley, or Dr. Darrell, if you want to start?
We're in constant communication with the DOD. Jay Sweat's our point of contact out there. We have officially wrapped up the design portion of it. The design is completely done. The application has been finalized. We have submitted our proposal for the build portion. It has not been accepted yet. And again, we kind of go back and forth on a couple things that we're working with Dave McCreary at the base on a couple items that they're requesting there for environmental reports. One of the other reports is they want to know if this is tribal land, where Eisenhower currently said. So we're working with the Historical Society on that, deem it not tribal land. So, man, we're really close. We're really close to get this thing green light. Once we get the green light and the official approval, we've already started conversations with Henson Construction. In fact, Henson's got a plan to access it from the west to where we can fence off from the west, come in on Fox Trail, and keep school going as we're having school. So we're close. We're really one day closer. So
Good.
And, yeah, and Mayor, a couple of weeks ago, was in D.C. and met with Jay and Patrick O'Brien from the Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation. That's a great name. But anyway, they felt confident too that all the I's dotted, T's crossed, are in good shape, so they're good to go. They're excited to get that going as well. So
Good. So you anticipate maybe in the next 30 days or so, you think you maybe or just don't know?
I really thought we might get something by the end of the week.
Oh.
I really did. Now it's Thursday. I was really hoping I had a board meeting Tuesday. I was really hoping we could say we could get it done Tuesday.
still could.
Yeah, we're
They
good.
thought it's imminent.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We're just one day closer.
Right.
But as soon as, Henson's been so good on construction planning, Corbin Mertz has been so good on the design, but, user-friendly, being local companies, we're going to see a quick turnaround. When we get the green light, we're going to see progress really quick. And what's wonderful about it, too, having lived through some remodels and builds as a school teacher and principal, and we're just going to be able to build that building right beside the other one, and it's not going to interrupt our school day at all. Kids will go to school every day, everything will be normal, and then one day we'll just go to the brand-new building.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be good.
Good.
Will anything remain standing once you're done with the new school, or does all that?
We've talked about saving a few artifacts from within the building, but there's not like a cornerstone or anything that.
But like those classrooms that were built on the whatever south side, do they come down as well?
Yeah. The plan is, like I said, I think we're planning on keeping a couple of the artifacts within the building, but everything will be
Good. Okay.
demolished and hauled off.
Okay. George, you have anything you want to add?
No.
Eisenhower?
Still good. Yep.
Okay. Very good. Well, we're excited to see that construction start. I know you are. And so I'll move on to item number 3.3. Update on discussion concerning enlisted dorms with Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for installations. Robert Moriarty, include discussion of overall housing needs. And I think this is you.
As you know, that him and his boss, the Installation Environment Energy Secretary, is usually who the states and communities coordinate with, things that they're going to do outside of the regular Air Force. That's who we talk to coordinate things with. So he had wanted to visit with me about several things, including some airspace issues. And so we did, and we talked about Eisenhower and all the other things, including the improvements and the use of Woodring Airport and all that. He was very appreciative of how that was going. But in the middle of the discussion, because he's who we had worked with before, trying to do the enlisted dorms, that he said, hey, we still, have a need for that. He had just come from a meeting with the SecDef and the president, had all the secretaries of installation, all the services talk to him about barracks and all that. So they're really trying to figure out how to get those upgraded and all that. And he asked me, would there be consideration to try to figure out how to do that again? And of course I mentioned that, well, I know that while the Air Force initially, we tried to build it, I know since when Congress asked, well, okay, what are your barrack needs? How much and all of that, this base was turned in to be remodeled again, which would make it about the third or fourth time since I lived here in '89. But anyway, he said, well, yeah, I understand all that, and there's reasons for that. But so he wanted me to go back and look at, is there still maybe the ability for the state assist? Because if you remember before, through the initiative at the state, we were going to bring about 2.5 to 3 million to the table. That at the time, and you weren't here, but at the time it's probably around 18 million was the cost. If you built it, it'd probably be 28 to 30 million. So that was kind of why. And at the time we had increased the intergovernmental support agreements to, and Inhofe was able to help us with that, which moved it from 5 to 10 years that the military could make agreements with communities to do things like this, build things. Well, we increased it from 5 to 10 with 5-year options, which gives them the better business decision to decide to go into a long-term agreement to do that, which would give them, those many years to pay it off. Well, then, if you recall, we had, we even still tried to do it, kind of had it all lined up, had the money approved at the state, and then the CBO scoring wouldn't allow it. And so, and of course now you have the ability, the rules have changed a little bit, where if we lease property on the base, then you can build it and get away around the scoring issue. So anyway, he asked that, could we look at that to possibly, and I told Colonel Lundby when I got back that, I said, hey, I don't know where this is going to go. God only knows where it goes. But I told him that I said, I've worked more on that dorm, I think, than I have anything. But I think it's so important, and if we could get a new dorm as opposed to remodeling it, well, we're for that. So he said, well, yeah, so why don't you put that together and see what that looks like, and we'll talk about it some more. So, and then tomorrow, as you know, we're going to meet with them. And we had designs, and I'll let all of you, I'm not, got all kinds of, design looks at this. And before, when we did it, we sat down with their people and said, well, okay, what are all your requirements? We put all as that we could, what the requirements were, and that's how we came up with the amount and the looks and all that. So, and we would have to redo that whole thing because, because that's been over 5 years ago. So since then to now, what are the requirements? What are they? And then we'll try to figure out a cost. And then if there's a willingness and everybody wants to do it, then we'll see. And I've already talked to the state, and the finance authority is, they're clamoring to do it because the state wants to be involved in anything that protects any of our military installations. And again, they had already approved it once. So it's, and again, it wouldn't, because they score a project like that. Well, okay, why is it important? Is it increased mission? Is it what? Or is it just overall quality of life? With this one, clearly is that for sure. But then what does that mean? And then the state values, what value that has on the state and the community, and then they give you those amount of dollars. Well, the way that would work is, say the project, and the project's certainly going to cost more than it did back then, and I'm just throwing this number out, but for example, if the project was 20 million and we got 2.5 million, well, the Air Force is not really paying for 20 million, they're paying for that, so they're going to get an even, and I don't, again, we don't know what the value would be that the state would do, because a lot of things have changed, and they're aware of that. So, but that's how it worked before, at a value at around 18 million. So we'll do all of that. I've had a lot of information put together, and we'll talk tomorrow about that and show a lot of plans and things that were back then. And I told him that I would, and he wanted me to get back with him as soon as possible, because they need to show that there's action, not just on our facility, but barracks as a whole for the Department of War. So anyway, I said, well, you asked, we'll do our best to at least give you something to look at. So we'll see. So.
Okay. Any questions on that, or?
No, I'd just like to, I don't know, just a comment. We have renovated that dorm so many times, but if you got a 90 square foot room and you improve it, you can have the best 90 square foot room in the world. It's still 90 square feet.
It's my understanding that two individuals stay in those rooms that are 90 square feet. Is that right?
I don't know.
No? They're single.
Single
Okay.
occupancies. Yeah.
But I will say that for at least 15 years, between our congressional delegation, whether senators or congressmen and their staff, every wing commander, all the way back to at least Russ Mack, we've all gone to see that, to say, hey, here's a need. And so that's why we always want to, because we're not going to ever get in the way. And I get, that if they said, well, you need to tell us how much it costs to remodel, that's all you can do. But when the secretary asks us to put this stuff together, we'll put it together, and then we'll see how that goes, because we're certainly willing to help you get something that is a lot better, but we'll see.
Coop, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just, I could add some context of where, generally supposed to speak at these, but I really appreciate what you all do for us, because last year we had a delegation came in, and all the members asked us, what can we do to help you, right? And it was like, what injects do you need? And we, as the government, as the military members, it's very difficult for me to say, I need a new dorm room, because we have to look at the deputy commander of the base, I have to look at the entire portfolio of AETC. Right? And I have to look at what every installation's needs are. And because as Air Force Civil Engineering's look, they're going to go, where are the places that have the most amount of need, right? And so if I am squawking and screaming and going, I have to have, they're going to look at me and go, Carl, you know that Goodfellow, I'm just saying as an example, has mold in their dorms and all that. So that's why we end up in this constant cycle of renovations, right? When money gets put into renovations and the Air Force downgrades that. And so it's almost impossible for us on the active duty side to win. And so that's why the assistance that you're giving, and I think that you really are onto something with this new kind of the change in the scoring. Will potentially, I think that might be the secret sauce. And so anyway, I just want to say I appreciate it, because it's very difficult for us to lobby for it and to fight for it, and that's where we need your support on it. So.
Yeah, and as long as we've been doing this, sir, that's exactly what we run into always. And again, we always know we're out of ATC command, we're probably like the smallest of the small. And so we're continually, what we do, we're fighting as hard as we can for whatever, because it's not anything taken away from, say, Goodfellow or Columbus or any other of the bases, the ones in New Mexico and all that. It's like we do know what we have here. And of course, we also take heart to the fact that, hey, when you say first command, it's first command. And it is, because it's where the men and women first come. So it's so important to us. And we also know, and again, this is just a personal deal of all of us, is we all know that even if you have a remodeled facility, when they score that infrastructure, that is not a good facility. And so that's a problem with us. So and again, we can only do what we can do, and so anyway, that's where we're at. So we'll again try as hard as we can, and I just wanted you to know that again, the state has already said, oh yeah, we'll help, because we know it's important. So
this will only get done at this level with this type of support. It's the only way to go.
Yeah.
So anyway.
How many dorm rooms is that they're proposing? Do we know?
100 was the latest deal that this was. And of course, there's even been some discussion about, I don't know what you call it, your officers' housing.
BOQ, yeah.
Yeah, that there's a deficit there as well. So I don't know about that issue as much as I do this, but, so anyway, we shall see.
Colonel, we don't by chance have any mold in those buildings, do we, out there? No? Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
And so we'll have that meeting with Lundeby tomorrow, and then probably the following week, we'll, get back to the secretary, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Any other comments, discussion? Item 3.4, discuss updates concerning the squad ops facility.
And Colonel may have something to say about it, but I know we were tracking it to be started, it's engineering discussions to sit down with the Air Force about, what capabilities it needed and all that, and then you had the shutdown, so then that further delayed it, so that didn't happen, and so I think the last date I heard that going to have the sit down sometime in February.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can to hold to that date in
Yep.
February.
So,
Good.
but the shutdown kind of got in the middle of that like it did everything else, so anyway, we'll.
Know more about that soon. Okay. Other comments? Anybody? Item 3.5, discuss the Association of Defense Communities 50th anniversary celebration in Washington, D.C. in May of 26.
And again, I'm on the planning group for that anniversary meeting or event in DC, and that's because I was chairman of the board for 3 years, so I'm in the middle of that. The other thing is, and the mayor, the cities will have a table at that, so our congressional delegations will go, and so we'll have other folks there. But the reason that the 50th anniversary of ADC is so important, it was the National Association of Defense, or of Installation Providers. It was called NAID, National Association Installation Developers. It was created by a meeting that happened probably 73, 74 time frame when they closed bases outside of a BRAC. In other words, they didn't have a BRAC in 1973, and they closed in Oklahoma, closed Clinton Sherman, which was a SAC bomber base at Burns Flat, if any of you know where that's at. It's in the middle of nowhere. And I would tell you that outside of a BRAC, because they got no assistance for that five county area around that has never recovered from that. Because you take, I don't know, what, 3,000 people there at Burns Flat, and they were B-52s that were there, had this one of the longest runways in the U.S. there with ramp space. I forget how many 747s they can put on that ramp. But anyway, mayors, city managers from New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas met in that town of Clinton, Oklahoma, to go, what in the world just happened to us? Well, they organized themselves, and now you have the Association of Defense Communities, but this is the organization that ensured that we do have a process so that you would never have that happen again with it, because they got 2-week notice to the congressional delegation. So now you have a whole process where you agree with it or not. At least it's a process where you can have involvement and say, not that you can change it, but at least there's a process. And then there's assistance on the rear end of it if your base is closed or realigned to either help you with increased mission or what happens if you close. So that's a lot better than, because again, if you went to Burns Flat, it looked like it stopped in the 60s. I mean, that's, I know you know about that. So anyway, that's why it's so important to all of us in Oklahoma, because none of us that are aware of those sort of things don't ever forget it. But because it started in Oklahoma, that's why we think it's so important. We need to, and so does the association that we're there. So that's why we'll be doing that. So it's kind of a big deal.
Item 3.6, discuss the City of Enid's official proffer of land to the United States Air Force, specifically to Lieutenant General Clark Quinn.
As you guys know, there's nothing more important we can do to protect that facility around the 158 in front of the west gate, the 130 something in front of the east gate, 12 back on the southeast side of the runways. There was a environmental deal out there, and then now this acreage that we're giving, that's the best thing that we can do to protect that facility. So I know all of us were surprised when we didn't, but it's also, we've kind of had to extend the dates out based on all the changes at AETC, and we're excited for Clark Quinn because he's a former Vance guy. So if we can wait as long as he wants to come, then that's a great deal. So he's, at least today, we know he's still going to come. So
Yeah.
well, it's a big deal. Good deal.
That'll be in February, mid-February. So, and then item 3.7, discuss Greater Enid Chamber of Commerce, City of Enid Annual Washington, D.C. fly-in to take place April the 20th through the 23rd of 2026. And I'm sure everybody in this room knows, but Ryan is our new president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited about that. I think you're going to do a great job. But we brought her in and go, oh, by the way, we've got a trip to Washington, D.C. you need to plan instantly. So if you want to just kind of bring us up to date on what's going on that. And
yeah, absolutely. So Mike Cooper has been very essential in helping us secure our federal delegation for those dates, April 20th through the 23rd. We are in the process of nailing down all of the travel arrangements, hotel, evening receptions, as well as those important meetings. So I'm sure as we get a little closer, we will finalize our agenda as far as the most important topics to discuss with our federal delegation. And if you have thoughts on that, Vance, I know, is very heavy in that agenda always, but if you have specific thoughts on that, I'm open to listening and adding and including that in conversations as we finalize the plans.
Good. Look forward to working with you on that. We appreciate all the work. I know she's contact with Langford's office, so work between them and Lucas to make sure we have the right congressional delegations at our meetings on Wednesday. Then we'll have that reception in the evening at the Capitol, and then Tuesday we always we'll do our Pentagon visits. We have a new chief this year. Now you never know based on their calendars, but we'll try to have a meeting with the new chief, and then of course the Assistant Secretary of Insulation, Environment, and Energy will be seated by then, and so in fact I think they were approved. But and then Moriarty will meet with us, and we always meet with the airspace folks while we're over there, because that way we can talk about whatever issues there are or not, or what's new coming. So we'll do that. But we look forward to working with you. I know all of the delegation, particularly Langford and Lucas and Mullen, want to help as much as they can to help you with making sure the other delegations like Cole or Hearn, not that we don't want all of them, but we certainly want those folks all there, so they'll help with that as well, and I will too.
Yes, thank you so much for your help for getting me kind of onboarded and starting those connections.
Yeah.
We won't change, the agenda seems to work really well, so there are no changes planned from past agendas if you have been on the trip in the past.
Yeah, well, good deal.
And I'll just reiterate that I didn't fully understand initially the impact that this trip has for our community. First of all, it is a working trip the whole time we're up there. And not only do we get to virtually get in a one-on-one setting with our delegation, which is always good because they're not in campaign mode like they are when they come back here. They're actually working and have good conversations. But I think more than anything, and this is because of you, Coop, we get to see the people that are behind the scenes that you never, not just see them, we have conversations with them that are behind the scenes that actually sign the paperwork, make things happen, and I just think it's crucial for the well-being of our base and Enid. So wonderful trips, and we'll get a lot of good, positive work done while we're up there. So I'm excited about it, as always.
And I think our delegation, between the delegation and Department of War now, folks, know that, number one, they know who to talk to. They know who it is. The delegation and DOD are working real closely together. And what's good a lot of times, there may be things, because a lot of us are not military, so we don't really know, okay, are the issues we're working on important? Well, if they're not, they're going to tell you. And that, for example, the last few meetings I've had over the last several months, and then Lundeby made a comment the first meeting he came to, that housing is like critical. Well, the installation secretary said, number one, we need help with housing. Well, I said, well, sir, we're committed to do all we can to help you with housing. We're not sure what that answer is, but we're going to do that because you asked for it, so we're going to do that. So sometimes we may not know about things that their needs are, but we're going to hear it because they'll tell us. So because they know that we're a willing partner, and that we usually are going to do what, well, not usually, we're always going to do what we say we're going to do. And so they know that, and they have a good relationship with us. So.
The meeting last year that stuck in my mind was I had seen a lot of letters from the clearinghouse, right? We hear that term all the time. We actually got to sit down and have a conversation with those folks. And if you remember having issues regarding the solar farm back then, and we'd already gotten a clearance letter that had done all that, but we got to sit down in the room and go, hey, now we just want to make sure. And I'll never forget, they looked at us and said, we don't have any problem with those. I mean, it was like, we've told you now how many times this isn't important to us. But to hear that firsthand made all the difference than a form letter that you hope, man, I hope we're interpreting this right, and I hope we're doing everything correct. So, very important trips, and I'm looking forward to it. Any other discussion? Okay. If not, I am going to look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Be careful on the weather.